Why do my relationships stink? How come I want to love people this much, but I feel like they love me this much? I felt like that for many years in my life. In the workplace, I felt like I was always the third wheel. I was the person that maybe was supposed to be there, but not necessarily people want me to be there. I remember sometimes feeling like my kids were not wanting to be around me. Like, what's up with that? Like, I love my kids this much, yet why are they wanting to get away from me? There was like a gap or a wall between me and the relationships that I wanted to experience. And I wondered, like, where is this going? What's going to be the result of this? And the longer you live this way, it's like, wait a second, like, what's this going to be like in 5 years, 10 years? This can happen in our home, in our own intimate relationships. 4 years ago, I finally became vulnerable as a man. My whole life was about protecting myself, protecting my image. When I became vulnerable, this wall between me and people came down. And after all the years of wondering, why don't they like me? Why do they treat me like that? How come they don't invite me? After years of that, I realized I want to say a cold reality, but it wasn't even cold. It was freeing. I realized it was me the whole time. It was me. I never realized it until I became vulnerable. But it's so hard to become vulnerable because human instinct is to protect oneself. When we protect ourselves, we're left projecting ourselves to people. And people can sense that. When we're not our authentic self, and instead we're projecting ourselves, people can feel it. If I'm not being authentic, people feel it, and that means they can't trust me. If I'm guarding myself, people can't get close to me. If I walk into a relationship with this shield over my heart, I may think I'm just protecting myself. But when I walk into the relationship with that shield, I'm telling that person, I'm not trying to love you. I'm trying to protect myself from you. This is a painful reality that I think every human at some point comes to realize. And that is that we have an unknown destructive behavior. Everyone knows what a known destructive behavior is. It's when someone is mean to someone. It's when someone does something that's morally wrong. We would all point at that and say, that is wrong. You shouldn't do that. You shouldn't talk to someone that way. You shouldn't drink that much. You shouldn't watch that. But unknown destructive behaviors are things in us that maybe no one notices, but maybe everyone feels. That was my life. I wasn't vulnerable, and so it put a wall between me and people. And on my side of the wall, I was collecting boxes of regret, boxes of frustration. But here's the good news. You don't have to work through all the boxes of regret and frustration and pain. You don't have to open them all up and and decipher them. Why did this happen? When did this happen? And figure that all out. You don't have to go through all that stuff. The only thing that needs to happen is the wall coming down. Because when the wall comes down, you can leave the boxes of regret. You can leave the boxes of shame and frustration. You don't have to solve them or figure them out. It doesn't matter. When a person leaves the prison cell of their own, for me, my unknown destructive behavior, it didn't matter how long I was trapped behind that wall. The wall's not there. I'm going to go live my life. You might think, and this would make sense to me, you might think, well, man, how many years were you behind that wall? Well, for me, probably 46. And the trap in life is that the longer we live a certain way, Like, I can't change now because then that will mean I was wrong and I'm going to have all this regret. Can I tell you something? When the wall comes down, it does not matter how long it was there. You go live your life. This is why we do the Purpose Mastermind. It's because people don't need to figure out and unpack and untangle all of the past. But sometimes it's these unknown destructive behaviors that is the real problem that's causing us to not get the results in relationships that we want. And the good news is we don't have to solve the relationship. We don't have to solve the marriage. What can happen is I can take down the wall that I put around me to protect myself, to guard myself. I can take off this shield that I carry that tells people, I'm not sure I can trust you. I can take down the wall by being vulnerable, and I can show up in such a way that people want me. My friend, this is a problem of humanity. We all have, at some points in our life, unknown destructive behaviors where we're doing something we don't even know that we're undermining the life that we want. We don't even know it. And we can try harder and try harder, but the wall is there and the trying means nothing. Imagine a life when you can stop trying so hard and instead you can just be. Imagine a life where you don't have to protect yourself from people. You can give yourself to people. Imagine a life where you don't have to guard yourself from people. You can give yourself to people. This is the life that we can all have. And it's much closer than we could ever imagine. And it doesn't matter how many years we've lived behind the wall. The life we were meant for is so much closer than you could ever imagine. That's why we do the Purpose Mastermind. Because we believe with all of our heart that every person has purpose and we can know it and we can be set free from any of our own behaviors that keep us from living out our purpose boldly. If you need help with that, go to our website, markdelaney.com. I'd love to set up a call with you and see if we're a great fit for helping you live your best bold life.